Hey guys, good morning. Thank you so much for joining this month's session. And this month we will be discussing on code build, the part of CI/CD process. So we'll be discussing on that. It's purely as any of our sessions. It is also the hands-on session. Okay. So just give me 1 minute time. I will check in the code. And let me first share the screen so that we will be able to see what is that we are going to discuss. Okay, so let me share my screen really quick. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. So this is what we will be discussing today. So so I'll open another instance of this one. First, we'll see what is that we are going to discuss. So today's topic is AWS Code Build. We will use both uh, .NET 8 as well as Spring Boot. Uh, I forgot to update the topics, but I'll quickly walk you through on that. And before that, let me go to the YouTube channel, .NET Learners House. And please subscribe to this YouTube channel and the meetup group. So whenever we upload any new video, you'll get notified on this one. So, okay. So this is the one. Where is that? I will give the links of this URL of this site so that you will have access to the. This is my main GitHub page. Let me give this here so you guys can keep it handy. Okay, and today's session is specifically here in this folder. So keep that handy. AWS Code Commit. I'll give this one also. So I'll check in the code once I'm done with this. Okay. So let's see that what is that we're going to do today. So the first thing what we will do is, I mean, the .NET 8 as well as the Spring Boot API, we'll keep it simple or minimalistic so that the main focus will be on the AWS Code Commit, which is the part of CI/CD process. We'll see that rest of the episodes will cover everything. So just at a high level, we will see that code commit. We'll see the AWS code commit. We'll see that just for a minute, and then we'll come back and do everything hands-on. Okay. So if you see this, the AS code commit will be here, and then it goes into the CI/CD process. I don't want to derail today's session, so let's focus purely on the AS code commit perspective. So files are encrypted at rest, automatic scaling, high availability. So from the client machine, uh, whether we use a Git client or IDE, we will be able to push our code to the code commit. So this is somewhat similar to the, not somewhat similar, it is a source control management system, SCM. Like we have a lot of different SCMs. And then comes the code build, code pipeline, code deploy. A lot of things are there. The entire CI/CD process will come into the picture. But as of today, we will be focusing only on this one. So that's for the introduction. Because rest, you will be able to find tons and tons of documentation. So our goal is to do hands-on. Okay, now that's the introduction. So first thing what we will do is we'll go ahead and I'll give you the big picture in 2 minutes. So we will create the credentials as if you have a GitHub account or Azure DevOps or GitLab, anywhere you will have Git credentials or the repo credentials. So if you want to clone, it will ask for the credentials. Like if you see in this GitHub for desktop also, you will definitely see that I have logged in as the user. So it will definitely need the username password. So for that, we will be creating the Git credentials, and then we will create two repositories. One repository is for .NET, one repository is for Java. And then what we will do is we will clone those two repositories to the local machine, and then we will create a branch. And for Java, I have given the steps in length. If you see that the creation of Java Spring Boot service, and what packages we need to add, and some of the settings in application properties file, and how do you execute without even control, to see that everything controller without even a single controller. How do you see that, okay, the application is up and running, and then you will we will go and add a new controller, and then we'll verify that using Postman, create a branch, create a pull request. You see that we'll add the DTO and controller. Periodically, we'll push it, and then we'll uh, update the branch, and then we will raise the pull request. We can see the commits. We can create different branches. This branch will create before even we pushing a single file. Okay, and then we'll create a pull request, and we'll merge the pull request. So that's the end-to-end goal for today. Okay, let me open the terminal. Okay, and I will delete the existing. I'll delete the existing one because we'll be creating new. So let me come back over here, and I can go to code commit. I will open this code commit, and also I will open the IAM. Okay, so here inside the code commit, you can see that code commit, code artifact, code build, code deploy, code pipeline. There's a lot of things are there, but we will be introducing something now, and again we will come back and revisit it again and again. So what I will do is I'll go back to the folder where we will be working, and what I will do is I will create all these things. I'll keep all these things like this, and then we'll create a new one. We'll not touch except the shirts API. I can use it, and this also I can very well delete it. Nothing to worry. We'll create it. Nothing is there. If you see that both this also I will remove that. Now if you see, both the folders are empty. There's nothing in here. So let me come back to the terminal, and I'll see there's nothing in here. So first we will come in here, and we will work on the shirts shop API. So you can see this links are here. You can click on this, or else we can multiple ways to do. You can come in here, and then you can copy this entire Git clone, or there are multiple ways. So if you select this, here also it is highlighting the things. Okay, there are a lot of different ways. So I just selected only the URL. That's shirts shop API. So DAR. So I'll do CD shirts shop API. I see there's nothing in here. Git clone, and I paste this one. So now it is going ahead and pulling in this repository, and it has initialized. Now if you come and see this folder, shirts shop API, in a new tab I'm opening this, and similarly I'll open the greetings also in a new tab. Okay, so now if you see the difference in the shirts shop versus the greetings API, the shirts shop has got .git. That means it has initialized there, and this one is empty. We'll come back to that one because the instructions I've given will come and we'll finish it. And something happened. It's not a magic. It's purely the. It is purely the. I've already configured it, so that is the reason you didn't see me entering the Git credentials. So something you have to create it. So if you come to this one, HTTPS Git credentials for AWS Code Commit. So what you have to do is you need to click on generate. Once you click on generate, it will show the username, password, or you can click on download. And once you close, you cannot retrieve this. So please download and keep it at a safe location. And now if I close it, it shows that it has created this one. I don't need it at this point of time, so I'm deleting it. But you definitely need to create the Git credentials before starting. So that's what the first step I've given it as. We need to create a Git credentials, which I've already configured. When you're cloning any of the repository for the first time, at the time it will ask for the credentials. So that's when you need to key in. I already keyed in when I was doing the practice on 28th. So that is the reason everything was working smooth. So it's not a magic. I have configured it that way. Okay. So jokes apart, we are here. Shirts shop API. So general practice, if you see that when we go into shirts shop, this repository, you can see the pull request, and you can see commits, and you can see branches. So we'll focus on these 4 sections for today, because without derailing, we need to do it in 2 flavors, one in .NET and one in Java Spring latest. So we will see these things. Only we'll focus on this one. As of now, there is no commits here. So as a general practice, what we generally do is, let me go and open another tab here and go to any of my previous sessions of minimal API. I can do a lift and shift of at least a couple of files. Couple of files is this one. Let's take these 3 files. Okay, just I'll be dropping it here. So before dropping anything, one of the best suggested thing is to have a separate branches. So instead of everyone going ahead and corrupting the main branch, it is better to go ahead and create a new branches. So first what we will do is we will come and we'll see the number of branches. At this point of time, it is not showing anything. So what we will do is we'll just paste these hello world of these 3 files. Now then we'll come back and do git add. Okay. Like git status, not a Git repository. Why? Shirt shop. We did it just now. Oh God, I'm sorry. I should have done it here. Okay. Git status. You can do git status. It shows that what all the changes. Then you do git add, and we can do git commit and message initial version, and I do git push. So once we do the initial push, and then we'll quickly come back to this place, and let's see the commit. It should show just now whatever we committed, and we have the commit ID. Here we can do the, here we can view the visualizer that shows an list form, and this is where if you have multiple commits, we can go ahead and validate the changes. And here it shows the main branch. Now there is nothing in the pull request, so let's create a new branch. So I'll create a new branch. One of the general format which I follow is our name and then the date when we are doing that, 30th September, and task ID. Everything lowercase, task ID and small task description. Okay, task description in the sense our first web API in .NET. Okay, we are cutting this branch from the main branch. We'll select the main branch and click on create. So once we click on create, now we will see that there are two branches now. Okay, then we'll come back here and we'll do git fetch. We'll do git fetch. You'll see that it shows these things, and I do git pull. So if at all something is there, the changes, but it is not there in our local, so git pull will bring it. So now we have two branches. So what I will do is I will check out this branch because we need to do it in this branch, not in main. So I'll do git checkout, and if I do git status, you see that we have switched. We are on this branch. Previously we were in the main branch. Now currently we are in this branch. So what I will do is create a simple hello world of the hello world of this API. Okay, so just it's simple. Whatever we'll see the basic web API. We'll select this web API, and we'll call it, because we'll come and we will update this in future, not today, but because we need to do a lot of other things here. Shirts shop, I call it as app, this one. Okay, let's call this as a shirts shop app. First, let's create a blank solution. I'm calling it as shirts shop app, and let me select this as a location, and then we'll create that. So once we create it, you can see it creates this shirts shop app with the solution. Now we can come and we find out git status. It clearly shows that, okay, there are some changes. Cool. So another thing what we can do is we can create a new project. Now we'll select the web API project. Here we can call that as, here we will call that as shirts shop API, because we will have app also in future, but as of today we are working with shirts shop API. So I'm clicking on next, and I'm selecting .NET 8 preview, configure HTTPS, and enable Open API. Do not use top level statements. I didn't, and use controller, because as of today, let's go with the minimal API. If needed, we will bump it up to controller in future. This is just a hello world because our focus is main towards code commit and CI/CD process, the branches, and also the Spring Boot one. So let's see all. Let me open the Postman also to check both these things, right? So now if you see that uh, you have this weather forecast endpoint. Okay, it's not controller. See this minimalistic code here, and with .NET 8 template, you're getting something known as a HTTP file that itself will go ahead and test the endpoint. You don't need any extra tools. Okay, and one of the general practice what I use is I'll go into the properties and inside the launch settings, whatever is it's showing here HTTPS is this one. So I will change this to the name of the solution or name of the project. So that's how I clearly know that, okay, that what is that I'm executing. So if there are 10, 5 to 6 or more than one project in this solution, I'll clearly know that what is the project which I'm executing. And another thing is it will be bold. So I'll just click on this and it executes this .NET 8 project. We'll see that there are a couple of things I want to highlight it here. Let's give it a minute, let it execute, and then we'll come back and see this. One of the way to test is this Swagger, where it gives you full-blown UI where we can go and test all these endpoints. And another good feature which I observed in .NET 8 is they're giving that HTTP file where you can do debug and everything within the studio itself. ID is a view, and there will be a window called Endpoint Explorer. Okay. Whenever we are in tension, we will not find it. So I'll find it from here. Okay. So let me search this one, Endpoint Explorer. See this, it was in other windows, but I didn't find it. Whenever we are intense, we'll not be able to find it. So see this, if I do open in editor, it is there. So I can go and test this one. Okay, from here also in the endpoint editor also, if you want, you can go ahead and test it from this one also. It will show, and we can create a request and we can do the debugging also. We can do the debugging. It shows everything, where the path is there, all these things. Okay. So another thing is we see that this is with .NET. That's it. We will stop it here, and then we'll focus on our main goal. We are able to validate. Now come and do the Git status. You will see that we have created this, and Git add dot and Git commit added web API, and I'll do git push. This is minimal API, so it is pushing. Now we'll come back to this one, and if you go here, we can see the commits. How the commits also, we can see this one. Let me come back to the commits and commit visualizer. Let's go to the branch, and this is our branch. Okay, so this is our branch here. We'll see this, the main branch and this branch. So, and also like same thing, I'll keep it at minimal, then we'll come back and we'll revisit. Like there are a lot of features which we can get into, but I'll stop it there. Main focus is we'll see that how the things are happening. So if I come in here, I can go back to the pull request. We saw branches, and we created a branch, and on this branch, we can see the commit. What was the commit on this? It clearly shows that. I think it should show added web API, and it shows all the files and the differences. We will see that. We saw the repository code here. Initially, this is the main right now. If you see that the branch is main, if I switch to this uh, another branch which we create, we see these three files and the web app. Now I'll go switch back. So we saw repositories, we saw code, we saw branches. How do we create branches? And we saw commits. And what all the commits here? We will see the commits of main branch, and we'll see the number of commits we did it in the branch. And if you want, we can compare between this branch and the main branch. And if you do compare, it clearly shows that did we modify any of the files or what changes are there. It clearly shows only delta. Now let's come back to the pull request, and I'll just create a pull request. And here my source is the branch. As of today, we are not having any of the approval rules, but it simply will write some title and we'll finish off. Okay. Added .NET 8 Web API. The same thing, I'll put it in the description. And you can see the commits. But the main thing is the delta, the changes, the source, what was there and what did we modify. Now click on the create pull request. It creates the pull request here. Okay, it clearly says as of now it is open. Approvals no, and no merge conflicts. It clearly shows that source is this. We are merging into destination. So we can see that activity history and commits. Okay. Suppose someone wrote some comments. That's all we will see that. Main focus will keep it to the code commit as of today, and then we'll come back and we can dig deep into the weeds a little later. Okay. As of today, I'll come back to this one and click on merge. So that will merge the code, and it asks it clearly. Some people will do git merge ff only, or squash merge is what I use always in the GitHub, and one is three-way merge, which I really liked. So what I'll do is I will select this three-way merge, because it is giving what is that it's going to do, pictorial representation. And then I need to give my name and my email ID. And don't delete this branch. I mean, technically we have to delete it, but just want to keep it for this demo. And you can see that the code has been merged. So now if I come back to the branches, you can see that it was 4 minutes ago. That was the last commit we did it. And here we merged just now. So you can click on that. I mean, once we go back to the pull request, we have the complete track, but we can see that inside the main, if you come and see that, these are the changes which it appears here. And also if you come to the pull request, if I select all pull request, it will have the track. So who approved and everything. So you can click on that, and everything, it shows that there wasn't any approval, but who has overridden, like what commits went in and what changes went in and what was the activity. So I created this, and I merged the pull request. So history is safe, even though we delete the branch, the feature branch, but still the history is safe. Okay. So I forgot to explain one of the concept. I think I'll do that now. This is the right time we discuss that. But that's for my OpenAI session. I'll see whether I have it here or not. Oh, I don't have. I'll get the slide in the next session. Like, what is the intention? The DevOps pipeline. I just kept it, but I didn't find right now. Right now, so I'll search in another PPT where I should have kept it. I'll show that. Okay. Let me search the PowerPoint. I think I kept it there. Not here. I think here. Okay, I'll get that slide a little later. No problem. So we have covered this to a decent extent. So let's go back to the repositories. And what I'll do is I will kill this greetings because I already did the experimentation on this one. So it has got all the track. So let's rebuild that greetings API. Okay, so we see we have done the basic one here, and let's jump to the greetings API. So here there's nothing in. I'll come back and just copy the name so that it will be easy for me to recreate it and select it and delete the repo. And you don't need to type, you can double click and hold this and drag it. Now create a new repository. Let's make it real simple. Okay. Java Spring Boot Web API, right? And we can add tags, but I'm leaving that for the future session. We'll come back. Okay, as of now, we have everything. Let's get the clown repository as we are here. Let me go and go to this greetings API and branches. We should see nothing. So let's come back over here, and I think I can close this. This will take a little longer than this one, and should be fine. So without delay, let me come in here and do CD and greetings. You see nothing in here. I do git clown. It gets the clown. It clowned it. So we see only, oh God, again I did the same mistake. No problem. Never mind. I will correct my mistake. I'll go and come back here. And I corrected my mistake. So if I do the dir or ls, okay, so let's do the dir. There's nothing in here. The hidden file is there, but it's not showing right now. No problem. That should be fine. So now let's follow the instructions. What is that we will do? So the first thing is, again, we'll follow the same rules of the game. We'll go here and let me see. I'll get the same shirts API, these three things, I'll drop it, even though whether it is related or not related, just to keep the ball rolling, let me do that. So I'll come back here and again, we'll do git status and git add dot and git commit initial version and git push. So once we do this git push, we will be seeing the branches over here. No refresh button. Okay, so we see that now we have one branch, the main branch, and that's pretty cool. So let's go back to the branches over here. We should see the main branch, and we will create a new branch. And again, the same rules of the game is same. I mean, I follow this one. Name, 30th September, task ID, and task resolution. Okay, basic Java Spring Boot API. Okay, cut this from the main branch. And we'll come back over here and we'll do git fetch and git pull. Git status. We'll check. At this point, it says that we are on the main branch. Now I'll do git checkout. I'll copy the name of the branch. Now we do git status. Now it shows that we are on the Swami 30th September task ID and the task description. And I'll do code.-r. Now this opens the project in this opens the project in here. I've installed some of the tools of the Spring Initializer Create Maven project right from here in the Visual Studio, but we will use this guy, the Spring Initializer. I've given all the links there. We'll go and follow. Right. So we'll go and just give me a minute. Yes. So we will select this Spring. I'll pull it out so that we will select all these options and its latest. And the name, what is that I've given? Com SV greetings. Com SV greetings. And the name is this one. So, and var file on Java 17. See that Maven, Java, this one, SV greetings. This I gave it as web API, isn't it? Web API. So this matches with com svc greetings, web API, and var file. And it's on 17, and I generated. So if I click on generate, so it generates and it shows it here in the download. So we can go back to the Explorer and go back to the download, and you can see this web API. I select this web API, cut it, and come back to this greetings, and I'll put it here. I just want to see we are on the right branch. Okay, I can see it from here. We are on this right branch. Okay, so now let me come and extract all. Okay, it creates multiple folders. I will do a little bit of cleanup. So I'll go into this web API, and inside this web API, and let me grab all these things, come back to this one and drop it here. Okay, it dropped it. So now I don't need this and this. I'll delete it. Now if I come back here, what is that which is here? First we will add this. Let's do git status. It shows that how many files we have added, and I'll do git add and git commit message initial version and git push. So let's create the track of our changes. Okay, so then we'll come back to this main file, and we see that servlet initializer and this web API. So how do you execute? You can see one difference because of the extensions which I added. I will get Java projects also in it will identify which I will be able to execute. I don't need to remember the command or build and other things. You can use any IDE, Eclipse or whatever the tool, IntelliJ, which you like it. I'm using this Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I can click on this one. It showed that pop up. Let's click on that. It says missing entries in a git ignore. Would you like to add those entries? Okay, let it add it. We don't have any problem. And I'll click on this. So it is checking and it will execute. Sometimes if it doesn't, then I will restart. See this, it took some time and it recognized it. Now you see this icon is here. We can pretty much debug it from here also. I don't know, sometimes it takes little time because maybe my box is little busy with something else. And let's execute this. Let's see. Okay. I don't want anything to happen. So let's wait for a moment, and you see that Java and it created, and you see Spring Boot 3.1.4, the latest one, whatever is the latest version, we were able to execute. So till here, we are sure that we didn't break anything. Okay, so I'll close that, and then let's follow the instructions. I'll close this because we don't need it. And as I was mentioning, I have installed the Maven project also, so that should be a good tool. Then we did the extract. Then we need to add this Lombok. So why is you don't need to write the getters and setters for that reason. You can get deep into the weeds going through this one. I've given the link here. Just click on this link. I copy this and go back to pom.xml and add this dependency. Okay, and then I'll what is that? It says no XML formatters. Okay, I don't need to install now. So I just added this dependency. That's the step one. Okay, that is the step one. And the step two, what we will do is we'll add tracing, as well as we'll use another port. So I'll go back to the resources and application properties. I'll add these two lines there. These are the two things. And this time we'll execute it from the Java project itself. Here I'll come. And previously we executed the icon which was there, and this time we'll execute it from here. Oh, these tools are making us lazy. At least I started forgetting every command because there are icons there. The tools are there, so you can use those tools to do the job. See this? There is an icon here. There is an icon there. There is an icon there. How will I remember the command now? So everything is executing perfectly without any issues. So that's pretty cool. I'll stop this. After that, what we will do is we'll come back and we did this step also. And let's do check in whatever we did it. Periodically we need to check it. The reason is if you're breaking something, you'll know that at what step you broke. Okay, and git commit am added dependency and properties. Okay, git push. Add a good message so that it will be easy for others to understand, like for us also to understand what is that we are doing. Okay, now we need to add two things. One is the DTO under DTOs folder, and one is the greetings controller. So let me go back to the VS Code, and inside this I'll create two folders. One folder called controllers and another folder I'll create is detours. Okay. And the first thing what I will do is I'll create this detour here, new file, the Java, and the tooling is helping us pretty good. So now I will come back here and do a lift and shift of a little bit of code just to save the time. I'll open this with code and come back to this DTO. I'll copy everything from here and modify this. That's it. Only three properties we have it. One is the whether success true or false. One is message. One is the date timestamp. Okay. Now let's go and add this greetings controller inside the controllers. We'll add the greetings controller, and let me go grab it from here. Instead of doing 100% mucky to mucky, let's do little bit changes of our own. Okay, there are a lot of red squigglies, and one solution is control dot. Sometimes I don't know why this takes a lot of time. Control dot and another control dot and another control dot. Another control dot, and here another control dot. Come on. And the final one is request params. Perfect. There's nothing in nothing more than this. So I will come back here and do the same status. It shows two files, add, and added DTO and controller, and git push. Okay, so now we will go and test this. I'll close this guy. We'll come back over here and we'll test the web API. So there are two endpoints. If you see that, one endpoint is greetings. Technically, we to the same 8083 should be here. Okay, it was my mistake. I didn't update it. Right. So now it is executing. I'll come back to the Postman. I'll hit it. So you'll see the number of message and you see that output. And we can hit greetings and greet username also. We can add it. That's a second endpoint. I'll add the second point also. We can test it. We'll come back here. Greetings and Srivaru. And that's the other one. So here timestamp when the request was processed on the server. Just a simple Spring Boot API. So now, again, this time I'll put it from here and message small change and git push. So we'll do the git push and then we will come back to the branches over here. So we saw code, and this is like the files in ADO, Azure DevOps. If I compare this with that, where we can select different branches, and we saw commits, and commits specific to the main branch or commits specific to your feature branch. You can go and see that. For Java, we did a lot of commits, and we saw branches. There are a couple of branches. Now let's go to the pull request. Now let's go to this pull request. Let's create a pull request. And the source is my feature branch, and the destination is the main branch. And I click on compare. And when I click on compare, it shows this difference. Like you can see this, what was a git ignore file and what is that we changed it, because this is very specific to the Java. And apart from that, here, all these things, so I shouldn't have added this. Okay, sorry for that. I didn't look at that, but whatever the changes which we needed, we do have those changes. So let me come back to this one. At the top, come back to the top. And write a message. Simple Java Spring Boot Web API. I'll go ahead and create the pull request. Now again, we can see if there is a merge conflict, the same process, whatever we have seen previously, commits, the changes, activities, and everything. So I just go ahead and click on merge, and I want to do the same thing, three-way merge. And let me write down my name. It's email, and I don't want to delete the branch. And there you go, we merged it. Now if I come back to code and look at the main branch, I clearly see the main branch has got all the changes. So when I come back to the local box, if I switch from this to the main branch, you will see a lot of files go missing. So there's nothing to worry. All you have to do is git fetch. I'll increase the size of this. Please ensure that your local branches are always up and running, up to the date. I do git pull. Now it bought all those changes. Now you will see things back. Now if I go here, if I go here and from the main branch, I'm not in the feature branch. Right now, I'm inside the main branch. So I think it's going and compiling the things. And you're seeing that it executed it. And let me check this. What is that? Oh, it's an 8080. Why it changed it back 8080? Okay, there you go. I think the properties went back to 80. No, it is this one only. But why did it start in this 8080? Should start in 8083. Okay, never mind. But let's do a quick recap. So we spent a minute or two on code commit, which is the source code management, and you can see some of the features we have seen: fully managed, secure, high availability, storing anything. And then we created the Git credentials, which I already did a couple of days ago. And then we created two branches, one for Java Spring Boot, one for .NET 8 minimal API. And we clone both these repos to our local box. And while cloning that, you definitely need the Git credentials, and I've shown you how to create, and we have seen that. And the next thing is we created a .NET 8 minimal API. We tested it locally. Then we pushed the changes. We created a main branch by checking in initially, and then we created a feature branch, and then started pushing frequently so that we'll get a track. And then we go and we went and we raised the pull request and we merged the code. And again, if you're switching the branch, we need to ensure that we're doing a git fetch and git pull so that the local main branch will also be up to date. And then we repeated the same using the Spring Boot. Okay. So the next thing will be, I think, code artifact. That's the step. And then we will see, we'll cover all of these things, and we'll create the CI/CD pipeline. I have chosen .NET 8, and a Spring Boot will be definitely supported. I think by November will not be there till code deploy for sure. But even if it is deploying, if I'm unable to do that, I will fall back to .NET 7. But assuming that I will be able to push this using .NET 8 also, I started with it. That will be one change. If I'm unable to do it, I'll switch back to .NET 7. If not, I'll continue my journey on .NET 8. Hope this session was helpful, and thank you so much for joining, guys, and see you in the next session. Bye. Have a good rest of the day.